All right, this is Chat UTD. To the backdrop of the travelling United fans serenading the manager for the most of the game, United won 3-0 last night at Leicester. It's now 7 games unbeaten, 3 defeats in 17 in all competitions since the turn of the year. Is Ruben turning the Reds around? I don't know about that, but there's definitely chinks of light. There's more cohesion to the team. I think, as I've said before, he is adapting to what he's got. He still plays three at the back, he still plays his formation, but I can definitely see a change in the way that the team is set up and the way that we play within that system. And I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that the squad has thinned down significantly, which you might say is a bad thing, but actually it's given him a chance to work with a select group of players day in, day out. And the majority of those players are the ones that are going to give him the buy-in. There's probably one or two left that he probably would rather get rid of, but the ones he desperately wanted to get rid of have gone. And I think there's something to be said for that. As hard as it is on the players, and the turnaround in games is not massive with Thursday Sunday when we have those weeks, but it means he's getting that time to work with those players. So I can definitely see more optimism. There's a feeling that's slightly different around the team, and you could say it's Leicester. Yeah, we should be beating teams like Leicester. Yeah, definitely. But when we played them in the FA Cup, what was it, about a month or so ago, it wasn't like it was last night. We were woeful, and we weren't woeful last night at all. I thought we played well. It was an enjoyable game. We've got a really tough run of league fixtures coming up, and keep in mind with the injuries we've got as well, he'll probably rotate quite a bit in those fixtures because the Europa League's the priority. So I expect a little bit of a downturn after the international break in league form, but that doesn't mean we're not making progress. I just think it means he's having to cut his cloth accordingly with what he's got, and he has to prioritise the Europa League. So it's good. We've had a good week, and we needed it on the pitch. We needed it because there's a lot of contentious stuff going on off the pitch. So it's nice just to be able to watch your team and see him play pretty well and win games, and score goals, and attack. The breakdown of the game. First half, we were the better team. We always looked comfortable. Rasmus needed a goal. It was getting ridiculous. Once you get past like 19, 20, 21 games without scoring as a striker, it starts to get crazy. And the pressure on you increases, obviously. So it was becoming a bit of a millstone around his neck. So it's a big moment for him to score. Really good finish. Pleased for him, he needed that. As I said after the game on Thursday, I thought he looked brighter on Thursday. He put himself about a little bit more. He looked a bit more bullish and aggressive, and if he carried on playing like that, a goal would come. He wasn't great last night, but it was a good goal. And he's a striker that tends to score in streaks, so hopefully we're going to see him score a few more goals now. The standout player in the first half was Aidan Heaven, who's made such a magnificent start to his career at United. The lad is very confident when he gets the ball. He doesn't overplay, but he's very comfortable on it. He can take it on the half turn. He can take players on. He can pass it. He oozes confidence. He's silk with the ball and steel without it, which is a great combination to have. He's tough. He's strong. If a striker gets the wrong side of him, like it happened a couple of times last night, his recovery pace and his reading of the game is really good. He has been the bright spark for me in the last few games where we've not had a lot to shout about in this last 18 months at United. Rarely does a player just come along and just be like, here I am, I'll do what you want me to do. And that's what he's like. No nonsense, just does what you want him to do. Young kid, brilliant. So I'm absolutely gutted that he's injured, because very quickly he's become an important player for us, and I think that'll be a big loss. Made such a big impression in such a short amount of time, so I hope that injury isn't as bad as it looks, because he was the standout player in that first half for me. In the second half, United enjoyed themselves. Second half, it was close to being 2-0 when Garnacho scored, but it was ruled out. He then scored not long after that. He hasn't scored for a while either, so it's 2-1 with Rasmus and Garnacho getting their first goals in months, both on the same night. That's good to see. And then at 2-0, there was a big moment in the game when Leicester had a chance. Vardy squared it, and it looked like a tap in. I can't pronounce the guy's name who had the shot in the middle, and De Ligt puts in an absolutely monstrous block and then celebrates like he scored, which I love. If you slow it down, I think he deserves even more credit than what he got for it. Because if you look at it, Vardy's on the left-hand side of the penalty area and he's got Mazraoui with him. But Mazraoui's kind of showing him inside a little bit, and there's a gap opening up where he could shoot. The fella's in the middle waiting for the ball, which and then De Ligt is central. So De Ligt starts to come over towards Mazraoui to support Mazraoui and cut off the angle so Vardy can't shoot. But that obviously leaves the lad in the middle with more space. But you can see De Ligt is constantly reading the situation, looking at his angles and looking where he needs to be. And I think he wants Vardy to square that ball. He wants to lull Vardy into the false sense of security that if I come over to you, that guy's got a tap in. He knows full well what's going to happen. He anticipates it and then he gets across. It's not like just some lumps launched himself at the ball and made a block. He's read that perfectly. I think he's psyched Vardy out. He wants Vardy to do exactly what he did. He'd read that situation. He'd anticipated it. He'd anticipated the angles. It's a superb piece of defending. It's top class defending from De Ligt. When De Ligt came in, I was a bit unsure, I must say. I felt like it was sloppy thirds. We wanted him when he was at Ajax. He didn't want us. He went to Juve. We wanted him when he was leaving Juve. He didn't want us. He went to Bayern Munich. And then he falls upon hard times at Bayern Munich. He's had a bad record with knee injuries last season, and all of a sudden he comes to United. So 2 concerns for me. 1, the injuries, because we've got problems with injuries as we've got again now. And knee injuries don't tend to just go away. And 2, it's like, all right, now you want to come and join us. Is he joining for the wrong reasons? Because let's face it, we've had a lot of players join United for the wrong reasons over the last few years. Couldn't have been more wrong. He's not missed 1 game through injury. I think he's missed 1 game through illness. And he gets knocks because of the way he plays. He got one last night. The lad that left one in on him should have been sent off. And he was limping. You're thinking, please don't get injured because we need him. Especially in the absence of Heaven, Maguire, Yoro, Martinez, Evans, the centre-back curse at United. But he gets up and he gets on with it. So injuries haven't been a problem. And in terms of attitude, you can tell he hasn't come to United for the coin or just because, oh, well, they're a decent, United used to be a big club. I'll go and play for them. Bayern Munich don't want me. He's a proper leader. He's a warrior. My lad who turns 10 next month asked me during the game, who's your favourite player, Dad, that's ever played for United? And he knows the answer because I've told him loads of times before. So I said, Roy Keane, Eric Cantona, and I went through my top 5 or 6. I said, what about you? He hasn't got as many to choose from, has he? And he started saying, Roy Keane, Eric Cantona, Sir Bobby Charlton. I'm like, how do you know? You've never seen them play. So he said he's watched loads of videos on YouTube, which is amazing to hear as a dad. And that's what I was like when I was his age, but I didn't have YouTube. I had old VHS videos, but I was a student of United and was just absolutely enthralled by them and loved learning about them, and he's similar. And then he started talking about Vidic, and he said, completely unprompted, De Ligt's a little bit like Vidic, isn't he? And I think I've said that on here before. And I think he is. I get Vidic vibes from him. He's not as good as Vidic, but I definitely get Vidic vibes from him. And we could all do with a little bit of Nemanja Vidic in our team, couldn't we? Especially in this era of absolute flakes that we seem to have, and particularly at United. And what is he, 24, 25? As a centre-back, if he stays fit and he's not bitten by the United zombie curse, and doesn't become an absolute knobhead like loads of players seem to do when they join United, if he stays all right on those fronts, he could play for United for the next 8 or 9 years. And given the qualities he's got, he could be a proper cornerstone of the team. So, yeah, I've gone off piece sort of away from the game, just talking about De Ligt in a more wider sense. But I think he's a colossal centre back, and I'm happy I've been proved wrong with him so far. I really, really like him. And then the man of the match for me, got the 3rd goal, was Bruno. 2 assists, all right. They weren't brilliant assists. They weren't like phenomenal passes, but he gets the 2 assists, and his goal, technical, beautiful finish. He does it so often, Fernandes, that type of goal, that you just go, it's a decent goal. And then you look at it slowed down and you're like, the technique's just brilliant. Underrated, really. Brilliant goal. But it's not just that last night. I thought his positional discipline was good. He led the team superbly. There was times when it looked like we were in trouble and he was the one that appeared as the last man to go and sort it out. His ball retention was better. He still gave the ball away a little bit, and he had a really speculative shot at one point where I was like, what is he up to there? But he actually got a corner out of it. But more often than not, he kept it simple, which was good to see, and he just kept things ticking over. I thought it was an all-round stellar performance from Bruno last night. There's a debate raging about him at the moment with his stats, and stats versus substance almost debate, which is probably a video on its own. But yeah, John O'Kane calls him a stat peddler. Yeah, I can see what he means, but his stats are up there with anyone else's. And I'm not just talking about United players. His stats are far better than any other United player over the last 5 or 6 years. But I'm talking about Kevin De Bruyne. I'm talking about Odegaard. Let's look at Odegaard. And I should have done my research, really. I haven't got the stats up there, but I'm pretty confident in what I'm going to say. Odegaard, who people wax lyrical about at Arsenal, if you look at his stats over the last 3 or 4 years at Arsenal, where they're involved in title race, they've been involved in title races for the last 3 or 4 seasons, compared to Fernandes, who's been in a largely bang average Man United team, and I'm being kind, bar the season when we finished third with Ten Hag, I bet you Fernandes has got more assists and goals than Odegaard. And you can call him a stat peddler, but no other Man United player is coming up with those stats. I saw an argument yesterday saying that if he just kept the ball simple, more players would get stats. He'd get less stats, but he'd be more effective player. If he keep, I kind of understand it, but he's in the team to create goals and score goals. That's the role that he has. And if he passes it and keeps it simple, who are these other magicians that are going to create goals at United? I think often he's not passing it to other players. He probably doesn't trust them. And I completely understand why he doesn't trust them. So I thought he was superb last night. And, Keane, a few weeks ago, absolutely bang out of order for me, went way overboard and pretty much personally attacked Bruno. And there's so many United players over the last few years, when an ex-player has said something about them, they've been really sensitive about it, and they've whined and moaned about it and used it as an excuse for the poor form, or that they find it hard with people like that saying negative things about them and da-da-da-da. Bruno Fernandes has just gone, yeah, what did he say? Hold my beer. Bang, goal, 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 assist, assist, assist. And when he's asked about it, class. No bitterness, no moaning, no whining. Just respect for Keane and the knowledge that I'll show you. That's what you want. So, as I said, good win, good week for United. International break now. So in the next week, I'm going to do some kind of like feature videos, I suppose. There's one that I'm preparing to do on the stadium with a very different twist to what I've spoken about before, or with a very different twist on how I've spoken about it before. Probably do a little bit of a Amrim progress assessment, given that I said, did we need a firefighter? And is he a firefighter? Maybe these last few results have shed different light on that, but I'll perhaps do a video on that. As I say, more feature videos really, because there won't be, I don't think anyway, a lot going on regarding United because it's the international break. I'll probably do them more towards the weekend when I can plan them properly and sit down and have a beer, which I like doing at the weekend with you good people. Just a little bit of housekeeping for the channel. On the back end of last week, I got my 20th subscriber, which you might go, okay, that's not a very big amount. No, it's not. But given that at Christmas, the channel had been going for 18 months and I think had 9 subscribers, it's now 9 or 10, let's say. It's doubled in 3 months, which is a really steep increase in subscribers. And I've noticed as well that some of my videos are now getting 60, 70, 80 views, which it never got close to that previously. So I'm setting myself an aim that by the end of the season I get 50 subscribers, because when you get 50 subscribers you can start going live. Now me going live could just be hilariously funny, because it might not work very well, so even if it's just for that and you want a bit of a laugh, please help me get there. But if for example, if 70 people watch a video, even if obviously half of those people subscribed, we're there, in terms of going from 20 to 50. So it's ambitious, but I think it's doable. I don't know the ins and outs of YouTube and the technicalities of it, if I'm really honest with you, but I'm learning all the time, but beyond doing these videos. So if it might be a complete pain to subscribe, because then you get notifications that you don't want and stuff like that. So it's people's prerogative to subscribe or not. I'm not giving you the hard sell, but if I could get to 50, it'd be fantastic. So if you've watched and you like the content, please subscribe. It'll make a massive difference, and I'm going to try and get to 50 before the end of the season. Any help will be much appreciated. Glazers out.